Hi everyone, in this video we'll be going through a sample question from the August 2011 midterm on the topic Money and GDP Equilibrium. Here's a setup for the question. Use an aggregate expenditure and GDP, money demand and money supply, and MEI diagram to show the impact on equilibrium income, the interest rate, and investment of an increase in government spending. Be sure to demonstrate crowding out. Label your axes carefully and use different subscripts to distinguish between the original equilibrium, O, and subsequent changes. So for this question, you should remember that crowding out occurs when an increase in government spending increases the interest rate, which tends to decrease the amount of private investment. So here I've drawn just the axes for the three diagrams. Make sure that you label all of your axes carefully, as you will lose marks if you forget to do so. So here I've just drawn the initial equilibriums for all three of the graphs. For the first graph, we have the aggregate expenditure curve and the 45-degree line where aggregate expenditure is equal to GDP. So at this intersection point, this is the initial equilibrium GDP. And then in the second diagram, we have the intersection of the negatively sloped money demand curve and the vertical money supply. And at this intersection, we have the initial interest rate. And then using this initial interest rate, the point where it intersects the MEI is the level of private investment at the initial equilibrium. So, looking at the question, we have what happens when there is an increase in government spending. So when government spending increases, this will increase aggregate expenditure. So as shown on the graph now, I've just drawn a new aggregate expenditure curve, AE1 in blue, and the point where it intersects the 45-degree line is the new level of GDP. So as a result of the increase in government spending, the money demand curve will also increase, as shown by the new MD curve in blue. And then this will cause an increase in the interest rate, as shown by R1. And as a result, in the MEI diagram, there's a new equilibrium. So where the new interest rate R1 intersects the MEI curve, this shows the decrease in the level of investment. So as investment is a part of aggregate expenditure, a decrease will also cause a decrease in the aggregate expenditure. So I've just shown this on the graph now with a new aggregate expenditure curve, AE2, in pink, and the point where it intersects the 45-degree line is the new level of GDP. So this type of question is fairly popular on past finals, so you should be familiar with how to solve this kind of question. The main thing you need to know for solving this kind of question is just how to draw these three diagrams and how they work together. So if you just follow the different steps in this question, you should be able to solve this question really quickly and gain full marks. So that's it for this question. If you'd like more practice questions on this topic, be sure to check out the supplementary notes.